Hey folks, the Desert Artist here. I am here and I'm going to show you something, well, I'm not very proud of. As you can see behind me right here, you can see that I built a raised garden bed. I used the live edge slabs that I was able to get from the mill. Now, there wasn't a problem in using the live edge slabs as a material to build the wall with. The problem was that I didn't do it correctly, and I'm going to show you some mistakes that I made, mistakes that I'm not proud of. It's created a lot more work for me than it was to build it. This is a fairly large structure that I built. It is 36 inches high and it is double walled. Here I am inside the middle of it here. You can see it's probably I think it's 40 feet this way, and it's about 60 feet all the way back that way. See, there were some critical factors here that ended up collapsing my wall. One thing that you do want to do is you want to make sure that you have plastic lined the water from eroding the wood and causing catastrophic failure. I did hand mix all this dirt with, I don't know, I believe there was 6 or 7 truckloads of manure and leaves that I gathered from around the property that I shredded in my chipper, and sawdust from the mill, sand that I got from the sand plant. Oh yeah, ashes from my fire pit. Now you can see this one held up here pretty good because I used basically one solid log all the way across, and what I used was these posts right here, and I just kind of screwed them in with long 3-inch screws. You can see I had to use quite a few of them, and the reason why I had to use quite a few of them is because, well, they're not very strong. I've had some that were broken off here, and here, and down there, and I had it screwed to this piece of wood here with a piece here that was screwed into the piece here, and well, the dirt still ended up pushing it out. One of my major problems was I did not use enough laps in the wood to make it strong all the way through. I tied it with a board here thinking that would be enough, and well, it wasn't. You can see here I did the same thing, but I was on an angle here, and I went through and I'm working my way around this hibiscus bush, and you can see I kind of started to get a little bit better as I got further along. You can see where I cut the boards so that they were all kind of flat and they meshed together nicely. But once again, here you can see that I did not put a long board going from probably the middle there to the middle there to tie it all together. That was a fatal flaw. Another fatal flaw was probably putting these on the inside, and then I was relying upon the screws to hold that together. And in some instances it held it together because I used enough screws, and other instances it didn't. So another thing I should have done is I should have put these railroad ties on the outside to counteract the dirt pushing away from them. Instead, I put them on the inside thinking that would work. Well, it didn't. You can see they meshed together nicely. I got them to to where they were nice and straight edge, and they all kind of went together nicely. It looks good here, but then this is the part where I started over here, pushed out here and pushed out on the other ways, and those railroad ties, I didn't probably put them in the ground far enough because they're kind of leaning out. Some of them look okay, this one and that one over there, they all look pretty okay. I did get them down about, I don't know, I think it was about 24 inches. Be able to do it as I was doing it all by hand with a hammer and a wrecking bar and my hands and a hammer with a big hoe on one end and a big flat spot on another. On my insides here, they held together okay in some areas, but then in other areas the dirt pushed them away, and then the boards warped. So as you can see from the grain pattern here, the boards warped towards, you can see where the screws broke here, and the boards warped to the outside. So I'm guessing probably this way would have been the proper way to do it, and this way probably not the proper way to do it. Whatever, some of them worked okay. I had my potato plants here, and you can see where the screws just kind of ended up breaking off right there and there. Back in there I had a couple screws. The dirt pushing upon the board made it, and I didn't have this one lined with plastic either. Another thing you want to do is line it with plastic. But these ones I'm going to be able to, you can see how right there, how the board swelled up with the grain pattern going this way, and popped the screws because they're not very strong. This way seems to be the correct way to do it because this one didn't warp as badly. Doing it this way, it worked pretty good, but you can see it still had a little bit of warp down there and down here. But to avoid all this warping, the key way to do it is to line it with plastic or visqueen. You can see here it's falling apart and fell apart here. I only had one screw in it here, and I must have gotten in a hurry in building it, and I didn't put in a second screw, so they just popped off. I just wanted to show you guys my mistake, where I went wrong. I'm not very proud of my planter boxes, but in the long run it's going to help you people who want to build your stuff. Make sure that you use wood that's not been chewed up by termites. Even though you think, oh, it's just wood, it's just going to a planter box. Yeah, well, if you don't have it back with plastic, like I didn't here, deteriorating the wood and not making for a very feasible planter box. Trouble in the long run for the next season. Here's where I had my corn planted. My corn did pretty good. I got up to about 10 feet tall. Hope you guys learned something. Definitely a learning experience for me, and I just thought I would share it with you folks out there so you don't end up doing the same stupid thing that I did. As I said, I'm not very proud of my mistake and not very proud of doing it right the first time. My wife told me I wasn't doing it correctly, and well, you know how us men are. I didn't listen, and well, she ended up being right. I hope you all learned something from my video, and you are able to do a much better job than I did. I was trying to save money, and live edge slab wood are generally tossed aside as waste or sold to charcoal companies where they can put it in their charcoal mill and cook it all up into charcoal and sell it to you in the bag as hardwood lump charcoal. But I figured because it had a nice flat edge on it, I'd be able to use it to build something. Wasn't the Smurfy garden I was hoping for. So there you go. There's my learn it tip for the day. Y'all have a great day. Be safe. Bye bye. It was a Deseret Arts time out of here.